Okay, guys, am I audible over the web? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think I see people still joining. So let us wait for a couple of minutes and then we'll get started. Yeah. In the meantime, I'll make the basic stuff ready for. Okay. Right. Okay, guys. So I think we are good, and let us get started with the topic which I'm going to speak right now. So actually today I want to speak about three topics. Okay. The first topic which I want to speak is about availability. The second topic which I want to speak about is VM types and sizes. Okay. And now if I am able to speak about all of these two types, two stuffs, then I'll speak about reserved instances and dedicated hosts. At a bare minimum, this is our agenda for today. We will try to understand the availability options and the performance options, right? So availability is all about it includes little bit about performance also, right? So before I get started, is there anything which was confusing about the last class before we get into these topics so that we can proceed further? I would take it as no. Okay. So for the next, I think approximately 40 minutes, let us focus on these topics. If you want me to discuss anything other than these topics, I'll definitely discuss, but I'll do it in the last 10 minutes. Okay. Right. So let us speak about availability options. Okay. So what is availability all about? Okay. So in cloud essential topics, we have defined a term called as high availability. High availability is a feature of your application which ensures that your application still works in cases of some failures. In cases of some failures. And definitely, whenever we are running the stuff in Azure, when it comes to our applications, we want the same behavior. So, what are the different options which we get in Azure so that our machines are available? Our machines are highly available. So, the first option which, okay, let me put it in this way: high availability, availability. Okay, right. Fine. can be achieved, okay, using redundancy. We all have discussed about this already, but if not, I am trying to try to tell it again. So let us assume that you have application running in one server. Okay. So now you want to ensure that that application works even in the cases of some failures. So what will you do? You will ensure that your application is not running only at one location or in one physical server or one virtual server. You will try to make it work in at least one more server, so that even if this server goes down, you have basically your applications is still up and running. Generally, high availability comes with redundancy, which is having more servers, have running the same stuff in multiple locations. Will it not have a cost implication? Yes, it will have a cost implication. But if you want your application to be available, highly available, then it will be costly also, right? So that's the basic assumption of it. And in Azure, okay, there are two possible options, right? In Azure, we can achieve this using one is availability zones, right? The other one is availability sets. Okay. So whenever we are creating a virtual machine, if we want our application that is running inside the virtual machine to be highly available, we have two options in Azure. One is availability zone based deployment. The other one is availability set based deployment. Let me speak about zone based deployment. Okay. So let it be availability zone or let it be availability set. One thing which you have to understand is you are deploying the same server, okay, or the same application redundantly. That is, at you're basically having multiple number of servers which do the same job, right? So now, if you remember our demo, we have said that in Azure, okay, let me put it in this way. We have a let me call this as region, and inside every region, okay, where is Google Chrome? Yeah, this looks okay. So let us assume that we have okay. So this I'll call it as zone 1. Oh, sorry, zone 2 and sorry man, zone 3. So you have a region where there is a zone support. And if you remember, okay, I'll go back to this map again. Okay, Azure Global Infrastructure, which I have shown on the demo, right? There were some regions which had white dots in them. So these are the regions with availability zone support, right? So whatever solution which I am trying to tell right now might not be available or cannot be done in every possible location. Okay, that's okay, but we'll try to understand. Okay, fine. Now, obviously, there will be now you have to deploy the application. So what you would try to do is you would try to deploy your application. Okay, let us assume that you want two virtual machines to be deployed. Okay, or you want two servers or two places where your application works, right? So Azure VM icon. So what you would tell is, okay, you would try to tell that I am going to deploy, okay, the same application, okay, which runs my web server, which runs my web server in these two zones. Now what is happening? Your web server is basically running in more than one zone. So now you can consider a failure scenario. Even if one zone goes for a toss, even if you lose one zone, then your application is still up and running because your application is already present in a different zone. Different zone. Web server is, think of it as your website's main server. Similarly, you can apply this for multiple, what do you call, you can apply this for multiple tiers of your application also, right? So generally, whenever you are dealing with this application, you will have tiers, okay? Entire application and all of that stuff, okay? And now you can typically go ahead and then deploy your application in multiple zones. This is the first option which you have when it comes to availability zone based deployment, okay? So now let me put it in this way, okay? So this is your web tier, okay? Now what I'll do is, okay, I'm just trying to draw multiple servers, right? So now you have zones, you have zones, okay? So basically whenever you have zone, 1 minute, in each zone what you have done is you have tried to tell that I will have a web server and I will have a DB server, okay, or a data tier, whatever you call it. There can be one more tier which is also called as middleware or an application tier. I'm not drawing that, but now think of this, okay? You are paying double or three times the cost, but consider that in this an application is running, okay? This is a region. We have three zones, and we all know that each zone is 30 to 60 kilometers away from other zone. Now there can be any failure in this zone, okay? Our application will still work, okay? The only case where our application might fail is when your complete region is down, when your complete region is down. So for me, let us assume that due to some disaster, the whole city is basically sinked in water, or whatever natural calamity has happened. That is the only case where your application will not work. But in any other kind of failure, so electricity failure in zone 1, that will not impact your application because you have other two zones doing the business, okay? Some earthquake happened, right? Let us assume that it has impacted zone 1 and zone 2 in the region, right? So zone 3 is still working. Now you can think of any crazy combination and your application is still working. So this is the first option which Microsoft tries to give you, which is called as zone based availability, zone based option, okay? So we'll learn how to do this also. First let me try to store this image, then there are some questions. Let me see if I can answer them. uh, AZVM 7. Okay, all right. So I'm directly drawing the image so that it will tell you the whole story. Dot slash AZVM 7 dot PNG. Okay, right. When we have application in different zones, do we need a load balancer? Yes, sir. You obviously need a load balancer. Whenever your application is present more than once, you need a load balancer. Okay. Now, in availability sets, if we want to understand availability set, we need to understand two more definitions of it. One is called as fault domain. The other one is called as update domain. If you want to understand update availability set, you can basically think of availability set only when you understand these two terms, which is a fault domain and an update domain. Okay, right. So now availability set is thought or comes into play whenever you are deploying your application. Okay, where is global infrastructure? Okay, in one region, in one region which doesn't have a zone support. Okay, that is where availability set is basically used. Or if I want to rephrase the words which I have said, Azure when it started didn't have the availability zones. So the resiliency, the high availability which they used to give was in terms of region based. So how they used to give is they were speaking about the failures in one region. So consider that one region to be South India, which is Chennai. So that is the only place where your application is running. How do you ensure that? How do you ensure that your application will work? Now, if you remember, we have discussed already that. Okay, 1 minute. I'll take some images. Okay, this looks okay. Fine. So in one data center, what is that we'll have? We'll have many racks. We'll have yes. And inside these racks, we have said that there will be a fabric controller. There will be an orchestrator which tries to assign the work. We have spoken about all of that, right? So these are all racks. Okay. Now you want to deploy an Azure virtual machine. Okay. An Azure virtual machine in some of this application, in some of this stuff. So basically what happens is it might get deployed in any of these racks. In any of these racks. Let us assume it got deployed over here. Okay. Now, whenever you are deploying the second machine, because having one machine is a single point of failure, or one server running your application, we might think it as a single point of failure. So what we try to do is we try to launch the second one. Okay. Second one can be launched anywhere. Okay. But it can also be launched on the same physical server. It can be launched anywhere, but it can also, there is a chance that it can also be launched on the same physical rack or physical server for that matter. Okay. Now in this case, if you remember, every rack will have a switch. Every rack will have a switch. Every rack will have its own power supply. Now for some reason, consider that that rack's power supply is gone. Now two instances of your server, or you are trying to tell that your application is running in two servers. So even if one goes wrong, it will be running in other case. The other will be basically getting your application work. Will that condition work out now? Okay, because of the rack failure, okay, whenever your rack fails due to some reason, whatever the reason is, power supply out, network plug not working or not responding, due to that reason, what happens now? Your whole application will go for a toss. Now, whenever we are doing a single region deployment, and if we have a redundancy option, what we want to do is whenever I launch a different application or same application again, okay, the bare minimum thing which I expect is I don't want my virtual machine or my application to be deployed on the same rack, but I would at least like to want to deploy it on a different rack. Yes or no? Do you all agree with me on this? So that even if one rack fails or this rack fails, my application is still running. Yes, right? Okay. So now consider each rack over here, as a, okay, or let me write it over here. Okay. Each physical rack on or in the data center can be considered as a fault domain. Okay, and you will have 3 fault domains. Okay, count number, let us not count it, that anyway you will see it over here. So how many fault domains do you want? Means how many racks, how many different racks do you want to deploy your application? That's what a fault domain means. Am I clear on that? Fault domain is that. Okay, now let us assume that, okay, this is your web server, this is your web server. Okay, now, right, and basically fault domain you have set it as 3. So let me do this. Okay, right. I'm putting it as double E. Okay, right. Now basically there is one more thing which is called as update domain. Update domain means, okay, what you are trying to tell in update domain is, okay, even if that server goes down due to regular maintenance, not due to failure. So for example, you want to upgrade your server. So when you upgrade your server, okay, so how do you want to tell that? Okay, how many of them can be rebooted at the same time? So for example, okay, let me do in this way. So my server's load is more, so that's the reason what I have done is I have taken 3 fault domains. Okay, okay, let us assume that we have 6 web servers. Okay, for whatever reason it is, whether it is a good reason, bad reason, I'm not worried, but consider that this is a story. Right now, at any moment, okay, my application will work, my application will work, okay, when any of the 5 servers also will go down, my application will still work. Right, so going down due to maintenance, not due to failures. Okay, so now how many update domains do you want? Okay, that means that how many servers do you basically want to create so that they can go down? Okay, that is considered to be an update domain. Update domain is number of servers that are allowed to go down, that are allowed to go down. Okay, for scheduled maintenance, not due to unrecognized failures. Okay, right. So let me basically write this update domain. Don't worry about this too much, because these days with zones coming in, no one is actually doing availability sets. But in the history, it was very widely used. Is a group of underlying hardware that can uh, be rebooted or undergo maintenance at the same time. Okay. So now what we will try to do is, let us try to see this availability option, availability zone option, and availability set option while we are creating a virtual machine. Okay. So practical availability zone option. All right. So let me go into my portal. I'll go into resource groups. I think we know the drill. In Azure, for any resource, it has to belong to a resource group. So I'm going ahead and creating a resource group. I call this resource group as VM learning, and I'll stick to a region which has availability zone support. Okay. Now you go to this image and try to find out any region with a white dot in it that has availability zone support. Okay. So I have taken central US, and central US has a white dot in it. So it has availability zone support. Right. Now I said that, right, I'll be using tags. So purpose classroom. So our resource group is created. Let me go into resource groups. And now I want to deploy, okay, availability zone, okay, for a Windows or for a Linux machine. Okay. So how do I basically get this stuff done? Okay, let us see. Now I'll go to virtual machines. I'll see that I want to add a virtual machine. Okay. So then I'll select VM learning. I'll give some name, Qt. Okay. It's okay. Qt VM. Availability options. What is that you want to do? Do you want to go with availability zone, or do you want to go with availability set? So right now I'm seeing availability zone options. Why? My region is West US. Now you go to the West US. In West US, if you are using this white dot, no. So I change this region to Central US. Now I'll go to availability options. Are you seeing availability zone? Yeah. Are you seeing availability zone now? Now, if you basically see the availability zone, then it is asking which availability zone do you want? 1, 2, or 3? Which availability zone do you actually are you looking out for? Am I clear on this? Now you can select whatever availability zone that makes absolute sense to you. That's as simple as this. I'm quite sure that, okay, do you agree that it is simple? Yeah. Now you say that I want to select the availability zone 1. Right. One moment, guys, before I take a screenshot, just give me a moment. Okay. Right. So let me take a screenshot of this. So in availability options, you select availability zone, and then in availability zone, you select any of the availability zones number 1, 2, or 3. This will tell you how many availability zones do you have. Right. AZVM. Okay. So I'm just putting that image because I'm quite sure that we know how to create virtual machines. Yesterday we have done that exercise, right? So fine. Okay. Why there are only 3 availability zones? Because Microsoft has created only 3, and 3 availability zones is too much, right? Yeah. That is like 3 different offices in the same city. Now you consider whether 3 are enough or not. Okay. And if you're asking me why odd number, generally for redundancy, odd is a better number. Okay. Uh, if Azure doesn't have much zones, we use most of the sets most of the times. No is the answer, money. Yeah, we'll understand why. But today I'm not going to speak about it. Right. This option is yesterday which we were using. I'm trying to tell that I don't want any availability options. I am running this VM. If this VM works, that is fine for me. Okay. But there is one more thing which is called as availability set. Okay. And you can create an availability set. You can create an availability set. So a name, my availability set. So let me take a screenshot of it. So when you're creating a virtual machine, okay, so first you try to tell that if you don't have availability set, you will create it. You will give a name. Okay. Ah, I think I could have also given this. Okay. Let me do one more thing. I think I want till here. Yeah. So you will try to create a availability set. You will try to give a name to it. Okay. You will try to tell, okay, how many, okay, fault domains do you want and how many update domains do you want? Okay. Right. Let me just store this image, then we will play around with this. Okay. Right. So I can say that I want 3 fault domains. That is a maximum number. If you see, I can have not more than 3 fault domains. And now if you look at update domains, let us see what is the maximum update domain which I can give. I can have 20 update domains, and I can say that I just have 1. Okay. So default number is 2 and 5. Default number is 2 and 5. Okay, so let me go to the default stuff and click on OK. Am I clear on these two options now? Availability set and availability zone. Availability set is for failures within the single region. Availability zone is also with respect to the failures in single region, but region which has zones. Regions which has zones. Instead of different zones, can we choose different regions? That is the next solution, Hari. But as of now, when you speak of availability options, Azure will not give you by default, while creating a virtual machine, an option to create it in multiple regions. For that, you have to do it the things little bit differently. Okay, so that's how it is going to work out. Okay, so multi-region is little bit complicated deployment. So within the same region, you have two options: availability set and availability zone. Okay, right. High availability within a region. Let me put it in this way so that we are clear on this. Okay, now practical availability set. This was 9. Okay, so here I'm basically giving you an exercise today. Okay, so try doing this exercise. Okay, and from tomorrow onwards we will be doing some of the activities also in the classroom. Okay, create a resource group. Okay, and create 2 virtual machines. Okay, one in zone 1 and other in zone 2. Okay, try using same image, whether it is Windows or Linux is your choice. Okay, and size is size as B1S because B1S is free. Okay, so this is your exercise 1. Okay, and then exercise 2. Okay, so once you have done this activity, delete the resource group. Why do you want this unnecessary stuff? Okay, so again, create a resource group. Okay, sorry, and then create 2 VMs in one availability set with 2 fault domains. Okay, and 2 update domains. Okay, and I'm quite sure everyone can do this. If you have any doubt, you can ask me straight away. Right. How will we be choosing fault domain? Fault domain is a simple choice. How big is your application? So generally it will always be greater than 1. So you want 2 or 3 racks. When it comes to update domain, so how many servers are you running? So for example, for my WebTire, if I'm running 3 servers, I'm okay even if 2 servers go down. So my update domains might be 2. Okay, right. That's how you basically decide. Okay, fault domain is always a easier choice. You either go with 2 or 3. You will go with 2 fault domains when number of servers of viewers are less. Okay, but when number of servers of viewers are more, which basically run the same application, you would go with three fault domains. Yeah, Ganesh, am I clear with that? Okay. Yes. Right. So will you be able to do these two exercises today? Yeah. Right. Fine then. So before I get into VM types and sizes, okay, because this is a time taking discussion, I'll get into reserved instances and then dedicated hosts. Once we finish this, then we will basically get into your VM types and sizes. Okay, right. So what are these reserved instances and what are these dedicated hosts? Right. Fine. Now let me start with dedicated hosts. We'll go one by one. Right. So generally what is that whenever we are creating a virtual machine in Azure, what we try to basically go for is we try to tell that, okay, I want to create a virtual machine. I want to create a virtual machine. Okay. But Azure dedicated host is a service that provides you a physical server so that you can run more than one virtual machine in that. Okay. So now let me try to tell you what I am trying to speak about. Okay. Fine. So Azure dedicated host is a service that provides physical servers where, okay, you will be able to host one or more VMs. Okay, but here understand one thing, belonging to one subscription. Okay, right. Okay, so if your company says that, okay, generally the way Azure operates is you will have racks. In your racks, you will have physical servers. These physical servers are basically shared with many other people. So on one physical server, okay, on one physical server, I might have, okay, 1 minute. Okay, right. Now let me go with this racks image itself. Okay, so I'm removing this. I'll have this only one rack. Okay. Okay, it might look very horrible, but think of this each black line as one physical server. Okay, and on that, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to launch a virtual machine. I'm trying to launch a virtual machine. So this is a virtual machine which is belonging to your company. Okay, I also launch a virtual machine. This is belonging to me. Okay, just to have it different, what I'll try to do is I'll try to fill some color in here. Okay, so right now this virtual machine is might also be launched on a same physical server. So black one belongs to me and white one belongs to you. Okay. So here the physical server is shared between multiple cloud consumers. Okay. That is how the cloud works. Now, if you don't want this to happen, if you don't want this to happen, what basically uh, Azure gives you as an option is they give you something called as dedicated hosts. Dedicated host is where you can try to tell that I want one physical server. I want one physical server. So your VMs, okay, I'll put it in this way. Uh, your virtual machines. Okay, can be launched inside one dedicated host. Okay, so but what will you do if you have multiple dedicated hosts? Right, you have many servers or many VMs to launch, and one physical server is not enough. So then what they try to tell you is you can create something called as host group. Am I clear on this? So you can launch your physical virtual machines, right? Virtual machines can be launched on dedicated hosts, which can be grouped into, okay, host groups. But understand one thing, this approach has two problems. One is cost, okay, right? Pricing of the dedicated hosts are generally more. So there is no, if you don't have any specific reason or a very strong reason why you should do this, then there is no reason for doing this. Okay. Second thing is, okay, this I think it might not sound like an option right now, because whatever I'm trying to write, I have not discussed about that. But virtual machine scale sets, these are very important topic. Okay, are not supported in the dedicated hosts. Virtual machine scale sets are not basically what do you call, considered in this case, right? So dedicated host pricing will be uh, slightly more. Okay, so I can do this. Azure dedicated host pricing. uh, okay, okay, so why do I want Australian dollar? Let me go with Indian rupee hourly. So yes, so I'll put it over here, refer here. Okay, I'm not seen many people using this option, but there is an option. It is very important for us to understand that there are options. There are options. Okay, so whether you use it or don't use it is your choice. Okay, but Azure has an option of what do you call the dedicated host. Okay, right. Any doubts so far? In disaster setup, can we use availability zone option on set option? Right. So it depends on what is the scale of your disaster, right? So if the scale of your disaster is only within a region, then yes, your answer is right. You can use either availability zone or availability set. But if the scale of the disaster is whole region is down, then both of them might not be options. So that is what we need to look out for. So we have still not spoken about a situation where what will happen if your whole region is down. Okay, but if the scope of your failure is within a region, yes, that is what it is. Dheeraj, am I clear with my answer? Okay, good. Right. So now what Azure tries to tell you is you can go with an option. Okay, whenever you are basically trying to, okay, saving costs with reserved instances. Okay, all right. So how do you basically save the costs with reserved instances? So generally, Azure costs are much like pay as you go, or like electricity bills. Okay, so you use the service, you pay for the service. Okay, so for example, I've used VM for certain hours, so I'll be paying for that. So let us start using something called as Azure pricing calculator. Okay, uh, right, good. Okay, so refer here for Azure pricing calculator. Okay, right. So let me see if there is anything added. So I don't want any other nonsense stuff over here. They will add you certain things so that you can understand what will happen over there. So what I'll try to tell that is I want to have a virtual machine. If you click on the virtual machine, it says virtual machine has been added. Then it says in which region do you want a virtual machine? I want a virtual machine in my central US. What is your operating system? My operating system is Linux. Which operating system do you want? Let us assume that I want to use Ubuntu itself. Okay. What is your tire? Let it be standard. What is your machine size? Okay. But till now we have understood only one size, which is B1S, because it was free. Okay. So let me go with B1S. Okay. And then if you want, you can do one more thing. All right. So here are you seeing billing options? There is something called as pay as you go. Pay as you go means you will get the bill every month and then you will pay the bill. Okay. But if you try to tell that I will be using this machine for 1 year, I'll be using this machine for 1 year, same machine. Okay. So your monthly bill was what do you call $9, right? So now if you say that I want to use the same virtual machine for 1 year, you are giving a commitment to Microsoft Azure. Then suddenly if you see is the bill reduced from 9 to 5.34? Yeah. Now if you try to give basically 3 years reservation, saying that I am going to use that particular VM for the next 3 years. Okay. Then your cost will further come down. Your cost will come down further. Okay. So we have not finished reserved instances. We'll be starting with reserved instances. I don't want you to even understand reserved instances. So I'm just changing this section. Okay. Play with pricing calculator. Okay. Tomorrow remind me that we have to speak about reserved instances. So we will try to understand what are the different aspects in reserved instances, because if you gain experience in cloud, the first thing that is expected from you out from your organization is how can I save my bills? What is the cost which I can reduce? For that reason, it makes absolute sense for us to basically understand this. Am I clear on this? So today we have understood what is availability within a region. How can I give availability within a region? I've given you a couple of exercises, and I'm quite sure that we have understood what a dedicated host is. Tomorrow I'll be starting with reserved instances and what are the sizes of the VMs. Okay. And then from day after tomorrow onwards, we will be using Azure CLI. And I want everyone in the class to have your systems ready, to have your VMs, to have your Azure accounts also ready, because you and me will be working on some command lines to create virtual machines. You and me will be using some command lines to do certain things. Am I clear on that? Yeah. So now any questions which you have, I'll be basically speaking about it. Are you going to discuss about virtual machine scale sets? Yes, sir, definitely. But before we understand virtual machine scale sets, we need to understand everything about a virtual machine. Then scale set will be an easier option. Okay, that's the reason why we basically first finish VMs and then go to scale sets. Update domain means, let us assume that you have 10 servers. Okay, and now whenever you want to whenever you are running your server, sometimes you'll have maintenance activities, right? So new Windows patch came in, or you have to restart some server for some reason and all of that stuff. Okay, update domain basically speaks about those kind of scheduled maintenances. So if you have 3 racks, in that 3 racks, if you have 30 servers, how many servers is it okay for you to restart, so that you can shut down that machine or reboot your machine, but still your application is running? Okay, that is what an update domain is all about. Yeah. If you want to upgrade the hardware on the existing VM, okay, what do you mean by hardware? Okay, the only access which we have is, we have as of now, whatever we have understood as of now is CPU, RAM. Okay, that is the only thing which we understand so far. Okay, tomorrow I said that, right, we will be speaking about VM sizes. When we discuss about VM sizes, then your question will be more relevant, Ravindra. But today I think I'll tell that I'll skip your question and I'll answer that question tomorrow, because we don't have necessary knowledge there for me to answer your question still. Unable to create showing free trial subscription when select size. Ramavas Reddy, if you have created a free trial account and if it is not working out, then what you do is, okay, convert your free trial account into pay as you go account. If you go into subscriptions, you will have something called as subscriptions. Okay, if you're unable to create it, then okay, you can say add subscription. Okay, if it is not working out, you lose the $200, but that's okay. Right, lose $200 means you need not pay. But as I said, Microsoft is having too much of load. 775% of load has increased on all the clouds, so there are some failures, right? So are you seeing add subscription over here? So you can help send a ticket to the Microsoft mail. You will have support. Are you seeing pay as you go over here? Click on pay as you go, and basically when you click on that pay as you go, and if you continue the offer, you will be creating one more subscription. Or if you don't want to do all of this, are you seeing contact us? You will be seeing Microsoft's help. If you click on this help and support, try to write a mail to Microsoft saying that you are unable to create a VMs, and they will try to tell you what they have to do, because right now they have unmanageable load on their data centers. Yeah, am I clear, Rama? Yeah, okay, right then. So yeah, yeah, so I'll stop the discussion over here, and tomorrow we'll continue this discussion. Please ensure everything which we discuss over here is very much important for you to understand. Okay, they can be part of your day-to-day interview questions which when you attend, and they might be part of your certification exams also. So please ensure that you are trying to go through everything. Yeah, thanks man, thanks for your time. Okay, and ensure that your accounts are being created and they are operatable, because in tomorrow, after tomorrow we'll be having some topics to speak about, and from day after tomorrow we'll be having some practical stuff in the classroom. All right, thanks man, thanks for your time.